maybe.
Yeah.
For this, we propose that you were musicians, all of you.
All of you are musicians.
This, in our context, overall, it's a barrier because Latin countries have not a musical culture, and for many people, for the greatest part of the people of our region, music is an inaccessible practice, and it's a thing of musicians. Only musicians do music, and the people don't do music. This is a reason that I have been always interested by the accessibility to the music, because I believe in music, I love music, and I want to everybody have the choice to prove it, to do it, and then choice if you want or not, but not like a thing that is not accessible because it's a thing of another people. We have I think, we have four ways to do music accessible, I think. The one is take patterns from non-Western music, for example, from African music. African music is absolutely inclusive, and use some patterns that make this possible. In Europe, it's impossible that a group of people without knowledge play Bach. It's impossible. But music, African music is a thing that, for instance, is possible to do with all the people of the tribe, with his own cultural knowledge. The other option we have is change the instruments. You can choose instruments like this. These are a universal design instrument. It's an instrument, the universal design is a framework that becomes from architecture that proposes 7 principles to apply to objects, to environments, to anything, to do more accessible as possible. This instrument you can play, and always it sounds good. It doesn't import what you make with this instrument. It can do many few things, but it do it very well. And you, with instruments of, you can do this musical discourse without a knowledge of technical questions of music. Okay. Another possibility we have is assemblar.
To spread out. No?
To spread out, to widen the concept of music, of what we consider music. For many people, music is a structured architecture.
Yeah, it has a structural format which is
yes. And
solid and inflexible.
With harmony, with counterpoint, with all the with a rhythm. But in fact, every sound speculation is music, and you can do music with anything of sounds. You can play the piano without knowing to play the piano. This can be a musical discourse, and there is no technical things here that has been in.
Yeah, it's not restricted.
No, okay. And finally, use the universal design principles to adapt music. And then.
So then we're thinking about how. Okay, so all of this, great. So what? We were thinking, well, actually, this music idea, composition, can be used at any stage in a research process. We can use music, we can use composition to pose a question, we can use it to create data, we can analyse through composition, or we can present, a conclusion, if you will, if you want to present a conclusion. But the interesting point when we were discussing this, how music can be used at different stages of research, was the data aspect, because actually, if you think about data, it's not just about the product. You know, in music, it's not just the product that is the data. It's also, and this is, I think, the part that resonates with some of the other talks we've heard so far in Beyond Text. It's the idea of the humanistic element. Because when you make music, when you compose, you feel. And this is the problem, isn't it? This is the bit that's hard to adjudicate. This is why institutions, I think, find arts-based practices so difficult. Because how can you qualify feeling? You know, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? But it is. Music is so much about feeling. And not just about how you feel, but the dynamics between relationships and people, and how that's expressed in the instruments. So the data isn't just in the product. It's actually in the making of the product, and it's in the thinking that goes into the making of the product as well. It's kind of
It's a process, yeah.
a process. Yeah.
And then, well, music can be used as a tool that generates unusual outcomes and alternative data, I think. And this data can be about myself, about my position, my emotional response to the process, about my emotional response to the product, but also about music itself. It can be data of a musical structure that can be analyzed in a musical way. This is the. I don't want to speak more. Our proposal is that you make 3 groups of people. We have a problem because I was in mind to have one musical instrument for everyone, but we have only 3 or 4 instruments. But that is not a problem, because you can use the voice, you can use your body, you can use anything that sounds. In fact, an instrument is a sound generator, and we have any kind of sound generators.
Oh, we've got 2 instruments.
But here we have some instruments. It doesn't import if you know music or not. I think that is the interesting thing to do, I think, is we make 3 groups. We explore our possibilities in the group. And during 20 minutes, we try to create a musical piece.
In your group?
In every group. This, if any of you won't my conversation, hasn't done that never, there are many, three instructions, 3 consells,
tips.
3 tips that I can give you. 1, listen one to each other. It's not I am playing, I am here. No, it's a dialogue process.
Listen.
The second tip is all is music.
Everything is music.
Everything is music.
That's what a universe is made of.
Yeah. And the third tip is play with silence. Play also with silence.
Silence is part of music.
Silence. We in Occident, in Western culture, we have horror vacui.
Yeah.
We have a problem with silence, and it's difficult to play nothing.
Could be a cultural assumption.
And no, but the result of your maybe more your feedback maybe more pleasant if you